in the live stream, doing the stuffs and the things in the live stream, not having my normal setup because our Wi-Fi is out, but I can still do a live stream and I wanted to, so I'm doing it anyway, even though I don't have any of my bells and whistles I usually do. I can still do a live stream in the live stream because it's a live stream and I want to do a live stream and I wanted to do an extra live stream, so I did an extra live stream, and that's where we're at. That's where we're at. It's an extra live stream. To live stream, lights are gonna go out any second now in the live stream, but fear not, I have a magical box that will turn them back on. Not a problem I've had to worry about in a live stream in a while, because I'm usually late for my live streams and here after 9:30 when the lights automatically go off. So I haven't had to worry about turning the lights back on in a minute. But it's a live stream. It's a live stream. And we'll see what happens. I don't have anything. I don't usually, if, I don't get chat or whatever, I can pull up comments or something. Don't have that. Don't have that. I will not fall for it this time, Zuver. I will not. I refuse. I saw your name first. There go the lights. I saw your name first, and I'm just like, there he is. There he is. The one and only. Here to test me, to try me. Yeah, usually I would have a computer or something to read comments or something, but I don't have that. My Wi-Fi is out, so I don't have any of my extra bells and whistles. This is also why we're getting a head-on look, because I don't have to make room for my laptop and everything else on the thing in the live stream. I have a kitty. I have 2 kitties in the live stream. Not in the live stream. One of them's attacking my hand in the live stream. Sweet girl. Sweet, playful, ferocious kitten. She's like holding on to me too. She doesn't want me to. She doesn't want me to move my hand. I'm kidding. I did get a haircut. Hello. I did get a haircut. Very excited. Very past due. Very happy to have a haircut. It's pretty great. If you see me wince or anything, it's just because I'm being bitten by a cat. Don't worry about it. They're love bites. They're playful bites. Some of them are harder than others, but they're playful bites. It's one of her favorite things to do. This is like one of the happiest Snickers is when she just grabs my arm and I can just give her pets and stuff and she can bite me and stuff. It's like her favorite thing for me to do with her. I don't know why. But got a few people in here. Welcome. Good to see everyone. I know it's ready for mail entry. What? What's ready for mail entry? The cat? I hope not. Peanut. My other cat stood up. And then there she is. Peanut. Peanut's favorite thing is when I acknowledge her existence in any way, shape, form, or capacity. That is her favorite thing. I can already hear fireworks popping off outside. I've been able to hear them increasingly throughout the week. Tomorrow's going to be crazy. I got the last 2 days off of work. Don't ask me how I swung that. It just happened to fall on my usual days off. And he didn't change the schedule. He was like, all right, my department can fend for itself for the 2 days prior to the 4th of July. They'll be fine. They survived. It sounded like they survived. I got a little bit of an update earlier. It sounded like they survived. But how's everyone doing? Anyone got good arguments for God? I can't go off and read comments. So it's like engage with chat or just make up shit as I go along. So does anyone have a topic? I mean, I can just ramble. Some have said I'm a professional yapper. It might not be the most coherent or intelligent things, but I can ramble. I can indeed ramble. I have a video that I'm going to post soon about faith in science, how atheists don't have faith in science, and how faith isn't a thing with science. When it comes to belief, when it comes to belief, I moved and scared the shit out of her. When it comes to believing in science, you believe because there's reason to believe, backed by sufficient evidence. It doesn't require faith. Faith is what you plug in when you have no reason to believe in anything. It's what you plug in to believe in something that you don't have evidence or reason or any good reason to believe in. Science doesn't need that. You don't need that. The device you're watching this on is brought to you by science and technology. Smart people using science and technology to design stuff and to make stuff. Same with the internet that you're using. Same with the walls in the room that you're in. Same with the lights. Same with whatever. Everything in your life. The weather app. You got a weather app that tracks weather. And we can track storms and whatnot. The internet signal bounces off of satellites that we managed to put in orbit around the planet. There's too many. It looks ugly as hell. We were destroying this planet. It's absolutely disgusting. But that's another topic. Science and technology does stuff, and we can observe it. We can test it. It's tangible, observable stuff. Even stuff like gravity. If you drop an item, you can calculate how long the item will take to hit the ground. And then you can drop the item. Before you drop it, you can make the calculations, and then you can drop it and measure, or I'm making shit up as I go along. But this is fact. You can drop it and then time how long it takes to hit the ground. And assuming you did your calculations correctly, those calculations will match up with how long it took to hit the ground. Because science and technology, we can test things, we can observe things, we can do stuff, we can make experiments, repeatable experiments, and it's great. And therefore we get reason to believe stuff that doesn't require any form of faith. Faith is for religion. Especially supernatural, divine claims in religion that we just have no good evidence for. There is no good reason to believe in anything supernatural at all. No good reason, no good evidence for any gods or angels or spirits or afterlife or anything like that. You would think after all these years of human advancement, and all this time that religion has been around, you would think that we would have something. You would think that we would have found something. Some form of credible evidence for the divine. Anything. Especially when you have books like the Bible saying it's just obvious, you are without excuse. You would expect to see something, and you don't. And I think that speaks volumes for the credibility of any claims of anything supernatural. It's just, where? Anything, especially when you also have books like the Bible that are filled with the God doing stuff specifically so he can show the world, or at least the localized area of what everyone thought was the world, his wonders and his signs, and show them how amazing he is and teach them to fear him and all of this stuff. And now he's just trying to play hide and seek. He's trying to be the hide and seek champion. If he's real, he's succeeding to be the hide and seek champion, I would say. But I don't know. He can flood the entire planet, but he can't, show up now. He can't. I mean, I wouldn't even say, we didn't have cameras or anything back then, because it wouldn't help us now either, because people would just think it's Photoshop or AI or something along those lines. So, Goodbye, Wesley. So even now, because for a while, that's what a lot of people would say. You know, get photos, get videos. That's, you know, of the divine, of the supernatural happening. We have Photoshop and we have um, AI. Even though AI is not that great, it's getting better steadily, but you can still tell. Um, even in without any of that, you have drones and holograms that can do all kinds of crazy stuff. You have hallucinogens. Obviously, a hallucinogen, you wouldn't be able to catch what you're hallucinating and seeing on camera, but as far as what we can observe in real life, there's that. There's so many other explanations other than the divine. And since we've gone this long without any evidence for the divine, and made so many advances in science and technology, and especially have been able to discredit older myths about the supernatural causing insect swarms, changing of seasons, disease, all of that stuff. We've been able to debunk that with proper good science and whatnot. If we see something, if something happens, something crazy happens, my first thought is going to be, it's something natural. It's not supernatural. My first thought is not going to go towards the thing that we have no evidence for. It's going to go towards more natural phenomena that we do have evidence for. And if we can't explain it, then we say we can't explain it. And we continue to try to explain it. We continue to try to find evidence, try to find explanations, things of the like. But the cat showing up, just claw my couch. We keep trying to explain things, and by all means we can keep trying to put forth supernatural explanations for things. That's fine. I don't want to take that off the table as an explanation, but until we have any way to test or verify or do anything with the divine, literally do anything with the divine, it's not going to be a credible, hello my love, it's not going to be a credible explanation. It's just not. It's going to take the back seat. It's going to be at the bottom of the list of credible possibilities. It just is. And that's just the unfortunate truth. But if we cannot find any explanation, science can't explain it, nothing, then we just say we don't know. Because that's the only intellectually honest answer. Because we cannot say, I don't know, therefore it must be something supernatural. And it especially gets ridiculous if we say, therefore it's something supernatural, and specifically it's my supernatural, it's this kind of supernatural being. It's my supernatural being from my book that says this thing. The more specific you get, the more ridiculous and harder to prove it gets. But we can't say, we don't know, therefore it must be something divine or supernatural. That's the God of the Gaps fallacy. Or if it's something that simply I don't understand, but perhaps other people do, argument from personal incredulity. And the reason that doesn't work is, like I said earlier, we used to use supernatural or divine or spiritual explanations to explain things like insect swarms, the changing of seasons, eclipses, diseases, things of the like, that we now have better, credible, natural explanations for. So that line of thinking of, we don't know, therefore it simply must be a god, has failed us so many times in the past. And we just don't have any evidence for the divine or supernatural. So it's not something that I'm willing to completely take off the table as a possibility. But realistically, it's not looking good. You know, it's not looking like a thing. Real bread 3 months ago. Wow, look, I turn off this liar's silly toy button. Click. I turn off this liar's silly toy button. Click. You can't turn off my toy. Arguably, somebody might have already done that because I don't have Wi-Fi. That's why I'm rambling and not like trying to read comments or something on my laptop. That's why I have to make shit up as I go along. So yeah, maybe God did hit the button, but I'm still here because I still wanted to do a live stream, and despite quite a few things stopping me from doing a live stream, I'm still here because I want to be here. And some of you are still here, and that's pretty cool. So clearly I'm not doing something too terrible. I already have 4 likes on the stream, so I'm not completely bombing. 4 likes in the first 15 minutes of my stream is not bad. 4 likes in a stream, period, is not bad compared to some of my other streams. So clearly I'm doing all right. Hey, kitchen. Sorry, distracted by cat. What else can we talk about? I got to watching something about the 10 Commandments in public schools today. That's great. That's great. And people argue, the person specifically, and other people, was arguing that it's a good moral guideline for kids. It's a good moral guideline for kids. You know, don't murder, don't steal. I'm pretty sure we were already teaching kids that, but sure, whatever. But the first 3 or 4 laws in the 10 Commandments, depending on what version you're looking at, because there are different versions, is all about God. You know, don't take my name in vain. Follow only me. You're at home. Nice. You got out early. You got out early. Aren't you supposed to be in customer service? You got out early. You got out real early. I mean, I'm happy, but you got out early. What was I saying? First 10 Commandments. Don't take my name in vain. Don't have any other gods before me. Don't make graven images. And keep my day holy. Keep the Sabbath day holy. You know, where God rested. Where God... Don't step on that, please. Don't step on that, please. Where God made the entire world in 6 days, and on the 7th day, he rested from his labor. Because the all-powerful God being of the universe, who can do anything and never tires or never anything, needed to rest after 6 days of hard labor, because that makes sense. But you have those first 3 or 4 that follow and respect the God of Christianity. That's not a good moral. That's not a good moral guideline. First off, it's really not. And second, it's very disrespectful towards people who might follow, and kids that might follow other religions, or not follow any religions at all. How is the Muslim or Hindu or atheist kid gonna feel when they have the 10 Commandments posted saying, hey, follow the Christian God, respect the Christian God, and it's being pointed at as some kind of moral guideline? The kids need to reshape them. And then you have things like honor your parents. Now, to an extent, there is some agreement in the Bible. It's honor your father and mother so that it may go well with you. You know, so you may prosper and whatnot. Maybe. If you're dependent on parents, no matter how shitty they are, sometimes it is better to just try to keep your head down and go along with it. Until you can get out, until you can be on your own, and then fuck them, get out and run away and be on your own and cut them off. Depending on, you know, what kind of relationship you had, how abusive they were, you do not have to respect your parents just for bringing you into this world. Now, I'm a type of person who's very give credit where credit is due. I like being alive. I like existing. It's pretty great. My parents had me. You know what? Thank you. That's great. That's about all you get. That's about all you get. Why are you giving me driveway notifications? Oh, the Wi-Fi is back. Sweet. My camera is going off in the thing. Well, my cameras are connected to Wi-Fi, so I'm like, my Wi-Fi is down. Why are you? My Wi-Fi is back. Cool. What was I saying? And that's great. And you know, I think other kids can say the same thing. You know, if you like existing, no matter how abusive your parents are, you can be like, hey, you know what? You brought me into this world. That's great. Fuck you for everything else. You do not have to respect your parents just because they had you, just because they didn't abort you, just because whatever. You do not. It's respect is earned and not demanded. So that one's a little bit iffy. Do not murder. Do not steal. Great. Again, that's stuff that we were already teaching kids without all of the, hey, follow the God of Christianity, follow the God of Christianity, respect the God of Christianity, follow the God of Christianity. We already kind of had murder and stuff down. Anyway, don't covet. You know, don't covet. Don't covet your neighbor's wife or your goods or combine them. Because the reason why I say the first 3 or 4 commandments are all about God is because some commandments have um, you shall have no gods before me. Don't take my name in vain, and gosh, I'm blanking. Keep holy the Sabbath. Others add in graven images, and when they add that in, they combine do not covet your neighbor's wife and do not covet your neighbor's goods, and they combine those into do not covet, so they can keep 10. And that's a pretty good life lesson. Don't be too jealous about what other people have, but also it can be a good motivator. It can be, if you want something more, if you see that there is something more, you don't have to live in the condition that you're at. There is another world out there, another life you could be living in, and you want to go live that life. Seeing that can be good motivation to go and live that life. So coveting, as long as you don't go off the rails with it, can be a good motivating factor. Don't bear false witness. No perjury. Just good practical rule of thumb, good practical advice for any country with if you want any kind of functioning judicial system. I can agree with that. That's great. Don't commit adultery. I don't know why kids need to be learning about, cheating on their spouses, or what that is. It's, we have to protect the children. Also, little Timmy, make sure when you grow up, you don't fuck other women that aren't your wife, because you're like a kid really needs to know that. Like I feel like we would just have to kind of gloss over that. Just like, what's adultery? We'll talk about it later. Don't worry about it, because they're gonna put it in classrooms through multiple grades, including kids that don't really need to learn about cheating and what that is. But whatever, protect the children or whatever. It doesn't really matter, I guess. So I agree with like 2.5. 2.5. 3. We'll go 3. Perjury is pretty important. Don't commit perjury is pretty important. Don't murder. Don't steal. Everything else is iffy. The first 3 or 4, depending on what commandments you're looking at, are garbage and bullshit, and it's just respect and follow the Christian God. You don't need that, and it's definitely not a good moral principle to follow. I don't think. So it's just unnecessary. It's disrespectful towards any other students. Just like if you wanted to put prayer in public schools, or you wanted to emphasize teaching Christianity. Now, I am fine if we want to, in public schools, have a extracurricular or what's the word I'm looking for? A non-required class. What's the word I'm looking for? Non-required class. It's a word. Y'all probably know what I'm talking about. A non-required class, an extra class that you can take, that's a religion class. I'd be fine with those extra religion classes in public schools to teach, that you can take if you wish, to teach you about religions, all of them. You can spend, X amount of time on Christianity, X amount of time on Islam, X amount of time on Hinduism. We can even look at Greek and Roman mythology, Native American mythology, all of that stuff. I think that would be a great, it's on the tip of my tongue, a great, God, it's going to bother me so much. But, the extra classes that you don't necessarily have, like you have to take the required classes and then 1 or 2 not required classes. I'd be fine with making it that, but as far as like actually forcing it, and one religion too, because we're not putting any of the rules of Islam or Hinduism or the 7 satanic tenets or anything on the wall. It's just Christianity. Just respect Christianity. Fuck Islam. Just respect Christianity. Fuck Hinduism. Fuck atheism. Just respect Christianity. It's very disrespectful. And let's be honest, what it is just more of a push towards Christian nationalism, more of a push to make this a Christian nation, to force Christianity on others, even by law. And it's upsetting because there's a lot of Christians who are against this, and hey, good on you. There's a lot of Christians who think this is a great idea. This is a great thing. Just like there's a lot of Christians who think that, and pro-lifers in general, who think that overturning Roe v. Wade is a great thing. Because it's more comforting to support laws and to do things that take away other people's basic human rights if it's pushing your beliefs and your agenda and it's turning the world in a way that you want to see it. There are a lot of Christians who would love to live in a fully Christian society. So they think it's a good thing, and they're kind of they're low-key happy, some of them, that it's moving towards that, and they're going to support that a little bit more, even if it is violating human rights. It's a little bit easier to swallow, especially if they are Christians and they think that Christianity is the only way. Showing kids the Ten Commandments, pushing them towards Christianity, is pushing them towards salvation in their minds. So I understand it. It's just wrong. Christianity is an awful, awful religion, much like all of the others. And it's maybe not all of the others, but it's definitely awful. The Abrahamic religions are awful. And we have no reason to believe that any of it's even real. That's why I often call it's harmful nonsense. It's harmful shit we have no reason to believe. And it doesn't need to be pushed. And I understand the love of Christianity. I understand having love for Christianity. I was raised Christian. I was a devout Christian. I wanted to become an apologist when I got older. That's why I dove into my studies to try to strengthen my faith and help me better learn how to defend it, which is what eventually got me out of Christianity, because I kind of peeked behind the curtain of what was really going on with Christianity and other religions and thought, you know what? This ain't it. This just ain't it. You see the mechanisms, the man behind the curtain of how things actually seem to be working, and it doesn't seem to be anything magical or divine at all. Now, I mentioned abortion as well, because I also wanted to talk about that. It's disgusting when people who are against abortion call themselves pro-life, because let's be honest, you're pro-birth. It's kind of what it is. And maybe I shouldn't say you as an all blanket statement, but a lot of people who are pro-life are just pro-birth, because you don't give a fuck what happens to the mother. You don't give a fuck what happens to the kid afterwards. A lot of the people who are pushing for abortion bans are also pushing to take away free school lunches for kids. You don't give a shit. The same ones who are trying to teach kids what adultery is in elementary school, you don't give a fuck. You don't give a fuck. The same ones who are trying to pull back child labor laws to make more kids join the workforce. You don't care. You know, so let's just call it what it is. It's one of the things that gets me a little heated and tilted and just uncomfortable whenever I see the word pro-life, because you're not. It's not pro-life. The overall pro-life movement is not pro-life. It is pro-birth, because as long as the baby stays in the womb until it is term and until it is born, you don't care what happens. And I'm saying a blanket you. If it doesn't apply to you, then it doesn't apply to you. If it applies to you, then it applies to you, and I'm talking to you. But it's gross. It's a violation of human rights. Just abortion itself. And it's just disgusting to say that you're pro-life when you're just straight up not. What other items do we have in the docket? What other items can we possibly talk about? I don't know. I'm just going to have to start coming up with random topics. The problem of evil, I actually don't think is a compelling argument against a God. I'm not convinced. A lot of people say that an all-good, all-powerful, all-knowing God would not want evil in this world, and therefore would not allow evil to be in this world. He would not want evil to exist, and he would have the means to do something about it, and he would do something about it. So if evil exists, then this all-good, all-knowing, all-powerful God cannot exist. I don't know about that, because I'm willing to grant that perhaps there is a God out there whose ways are beyond ours and who knows more than us, and maybe he allows the evil, atrocious things to happen for good reason. That's why I say, I say it all the time, if I am ever face to face with the Christian God after I die, I'm going to have a lot of questions that are going to need a lot of good answers before I'm ever even going to think about bowing down. Because maybe, in some huge, because we don't understand the ways of some all-powerful, all-knowing, supernatural being. We don't. So maybe, hundreds of thousands of millions of children dying of cancer, maybe, for some strange, sick, sadistic reason, maybe that's actually a good thing. I would like to have that explanation from God. I would like to have that explanation. I'm not saying that there's not one. Probably not. But I would like that explanation. Hello, Doom. So that's why, the problem of evil, I don't get stuck on too much. You won't hear me use it too much as a defense, or as any kind of evidence against that kind of God, because who knows? Who knows? Maybe he has good, legitimate reasons for hiding from us. Maybe God stays in heaven because he too fears what he created. Because he too lives in fear of what he created. Some might get that reference, some might not. It was a really powerful, deep message just dropped on a not powerful, deep movie. But I can appreciate it. I can appreciate it. You're home very early.
I'm home very early.
When does customer service close?
9 o'clock.
That's right, 9:30. Why did I think 10:30? Yeah, you're right. You're completely right. I'm just dumb. So you got out of there on time.
Yes, surprisingly.
Well, good.
I was expecting to be late.
Well, good. Also, shout out to the fact that I have 7 likes. I am sitting here. My Wi-Fi was out. It just came back on. So I don't have my laptop to scroll through comments or to look stuff up. I don't have anything but just me. Chat's not really moving, so I'm just making shit up as I go along. And I'm just kind of rambling of whatever comes up off the top of my head. And it's gotten me 7 likes. That's as much as my, more better produced live streams do. So shout out, 8 now. It still says 7 for me, but if it's 8, sweet. That's great too. So shout out to everyone. There's only 4 of you watching right now, so half of you are probably not here. At least it says that on my end. But whatever, that's it makes me feel good about myself a little bit that I was able to to gather that much likes in half the time, despite just being on my own. I was gonna text you. I guess I didn't think that you might be doing shopping. I was gonna text you to get the bread.
Yeah, I decided to look to see if we have those because.
And then there was something else that we needed. I'll probably get it Saturday. I don't want to try to buy anything tomorrow. I'm gonna run away as soon as my shift is over tomorrow because it's gonna be so much fun. What else? What else? What else? Snickers. What else? Declawing your cats is super fucked up. Don't do it. 2 of my cats are declawed in the front. It wasn't our choice. It was a previous owner's choice. But it's fucked up. It's not a good thing to do. And now I can understand having the front claws. It's not great. It's not really awesome. Smokey, my other cat, has her front claws and she scratches us more often. She scratches up our furniture and it's a fucking problem. But here's the thing. If you have such an issue with it, don't get a cat. It's just kind of that simple. I can understand and respect, not being able to have a clawed cat. But if you have a clawed cat, don't have a cat. Or maybe find one that's already declawed. Because what are you gonna do about it? The twins, as we call them, Snickers and Peanut, do at least still have their back claws, and they do know how to use those. And the previous owner kept those in case they ever got out. I know I'm messing with your toes. In case they ever got out, they would be able to defend themselves with their back claws, which they have learned how to do. So that's cool. But it doesn't change the fact that there is harm and damage done to their front claws as a result of the decline. That, especially as they get older, could very well cause more and more problems. It might already be causing problems because we switched a year or 2 ago to pine pellets versus clay litter, and I think the pine pellets are a little harder on their paws and hurts their paws, and they don't always like to go in the litter box, and they pee and poop outside of the litter box. And it might be partially because of their hurt front paws because they got declawed. Because the twins are getting up there in age, so declawing also puts them at risk if they ever find themselves in a situation where they need to defend themselves. Yeah. Like I said, the person who declawed the twins at least kept their back claws so they could use those to defend themselves, and they kind of can, but it's not really a substitution for having all 4 of your claws. Amir, I think might be your name. Please forgive me if I'm mispronouncing it. Yes, there is a God. Jesus loves you, bro, even if you reject him, because he is love. Cool. Why should I believe any of that? Why should I believe that there is a God? Why should I believe that Jesus even knows I existed? Because as far as I can tell, he died 2,000 years ago. So, I don't have any reason to believe that he was anything divine or that he's still around today or anything like that. So, I really got nothing for that. What time is it? This might be a little bit of a shorter life. Yeah. Why should I believe there is a God and that he cares about me? What would be good reason to believe?
You're lucky you weren't working today.
What?
You're lucky you weren't working today.
I got the last 2 days off. They didn't even try to switch it or anything. They was like, 2 days leading up to 4th of July. It's going to be on a Friday, giving people the 3-day weekend, so it's going to be absolutely crazy. Yeah, you can just take those off. And then I got to walk in and probably piece the department back together because I've been gone the last 2 busy days. And run it through tomorrow. But the weekend should be a little bit calmer. A little bit.
It was insane today.
I'm sure. I am sure. And I do reject Jesus. If he exists, I reject him. I reject him as the God of the Bible that supports things like slavery, misogyny, genocide, child abuse. I absolutely reject him 100% completely. Just kind of not a good being, not a being that I want anything to do with. And I can actually turn on my iPhone now, so I can at least have something to look stuff up with, and maybe read some comments from, since we got the Wi-Fi back online.
Wi-Fi's just been out most of the day.
Jesus was messenger of God. For like 3.5 hours, 3 hours. Jesus is the messenger of God. Okay? Any reason as to why I should believe that? Is there a God? Why does he need a messenger? There is a God, there is no doubt. Okay, I have a lot of doubts. I guess nothing says I love you even if you reject me by casting them into hell and gaslighting them for saying you did it to yourself. Yeah. It's pretty great. It's pretty great. Oh, boo, that's right. I'm not signed in on this phone. Where's my hairbrush? Okay, here it is. Pardon me. I'm going to sign into my other email on my old iPhone that I'm not signed in on. Now, where do I have that? I have to have it written down somewhere. Yeah, I have to have it written down in the Drew Skaggs things. Or watch the Muslim Lantern videos. I had a feeling you might be Muslim. I don't really have any reason to believe in Islam either. Islam or Christianity. So yeah. And you want me to watch? It says so I got a message from you that says there is a God, there is no doubt, and then the next message I got from you is or watch the Muslim Lantern videos. So there might be I think it might have deleted your previous message, and I don't know why. You might try to put it again, maybe word it different, because it might have just grabbed something you said. So yeah. Where is my spaghetti? There it is. Okay, give me just a second while I add a whole nother account to my phone. Fun fact, the email I'm signing on to is an email that is in my description. I do have a public email that can be used for purposes.
Do you?
Hmm?
Do you?
Yeah. I've gotten a few emails on it already.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I don't highlight it very often. Mostly because I forget that it's there, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. But also, I treat it like a lot of other um, places where people can message me to where I don't respond. So it's like you can send me stuff and I'll look at it, but like you can also just comment. Whole ass elaborate passwords. Okay, so I have access to that. That's cool. All right, where are we? I'm also converted after watching his video. Well, then I'll have to watch it. Maybe that's I'll see. Who is a liar but he that denieth that Jesus is the Christ? He is the Antichrist that denieth the Father and the Son. So I understand that the Bible has a lot of fail-safes put into it in a lot of ways to shit on and dismiss and discredit anyone who doubts the Bible, even though there are a lot of reasons to doubt the Bible. I get that. And religions and cults like to build that stuff in, like to put that shit in, you know. Just kind of, if somebody loses the faith, they were never a part of us, don't worry about it. Don't trust the ways of the world, trust God. All these things, you know, if people are without excuse, God's existence is so obvious that we are without excuse. Religions like to put this stuff in to dismiss and discredit any non-believers. It helps with the cult mentality. Isn't actual fact. Isn't anything that should actually be taken with any kind of credibility. Kiss the Son lest he be angry and ye perish from the way when his wrath is kindled, but a little blessed are they that put their trust in him. Sounds kind of gay, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. King Jesus loves you, believe in him, and he will be saved. Prove it. Jesus said unto her, I am the resurrection. So, you can quote Bible verses to me all you want. And that's great. Great, love that. Why should I care? Why should I care? I understand that the Bible makes claims. The Bhagavad Gita makes claims. The Quran makes claims. The Book of Mormon makes claims. Religions makes claims. Heaven's Gate made claims. Jonestown made claims. There was a claim made to the people who flew planes into buildings on September 11th that they were going to get rewarded in eternal afterlife and they were giving their life for Allah. Claims exist. Claims exist. And they're great for keeping some people in the fold. But I'm not in the fold, so I'm asking why should I believe any of the claims? Yeah, apparently Jesus wants us to kiss him. You know, whatever. I mean, I might not be completely opposed if he's, you know. I doubt Severus. Issue with created in God's image is its interpretations lead to issues of anthropomorphism, attributing human characteristics to God, and a misunderstanding of God's infinite nature and God's will. It is very interesting that we are said to have been made in God's image and likeness. So, kind of sounds like God's a dude. And especially earlier on in the earlier books of the Bible, he is more of just a dude. Especially in earlier interpretations and translations of the Bible. He is more of a physical being. He has a back. He has a faith. He has a hand. You know, he walks around and he talks to Abraham. He wrestles with Jacob. Wrestles with Jacob. You know, he is more of a physical thing, and you can see in the Bible kind of a transition from physical dude in the clouds to some kind of divine, you know, not disembodied thing, spiritual thing. I could pass as 18? I would hope so. Yes, they claim it doesn't mean they're right. Exactly. That to the Antichrist nomad who said Yahweh has no only begotten Son. Okay, now a chat about your subject matter. Okay. After many prophets passed away, their follower made him God. Yeah, I understand the Quran's view on Jesus. He was just a prophet, born of a virgin, I'm pretty sure. Just a prophet, not the son of Allah, because why would Allah need a son? And Jesus was not crucified. Someone else was made to look like him and took his place. Jesus was just taken up into heaven, according to the Quran. Do you think the Quran is evil? I think the Abrahamic God and everything it stands for. Maybe not everything it stands for. They had a couple of good verses, but I think the Abrahamic God is evil. Whatever flavor of the Abrahamic God you want. Judaism, Christianity, Islam, they all worship the same God. They just go different directions with it. So yes, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, the Torah, yes. I think they're overall just awful, disgusting books depicting an awful, disgusting God. Just wondering is just a question, but what is your reason for not believing in God? Not having reason to believe in God? Why, how am I supposed to believe in something I have no reason to believe in? That's really all it is. Okay, Revelations. The devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire burning with brimstone, where the beast and the false prophets are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. So we were just talking about how the Quran says that Jesus was just a prophet, and that Christianity is wrong. So the Quran also makes claims, and one of those claims kind of shatters Christianity. So you're making claims from the Bible. Somebody else makes claims from the Quran that shatters the books that you're reading. Well, not all of them, but shatters Christianity. This idea of Christ being God and all of this stuff, and being the Messiah and all of this stuff. So I'm kind of getting conflicting claims. How do we tell which one is right? This is where we need things like evidence. This is where faith fails, because Islam and Christianity both use faith. All religions use faith. That doesn't get us anywhere. I can have faith that this phone's going to turn into a unicorn one day and carry me off to Valhalla. You can believe anything based on faith. But when there's all these different claims being made by all these different religions, all being taken on faith, how do you know which one to believe? That's when we need to start looking for evidence. And there's no good evidence for these religions, so they're all just kind of at ground zero. I think IHOP is building nuclear weapons. It would not surprise me. I've been in an IHOP past midnight. You know, it gets a little wild in there. Wouldn't completely surprise me. Yeah, do you like going off evidence? And without evidence, you will not believe in God? Without evidence, I don't really believe in much of anything. Hello. Show me one evil thing in Quran with reference. So I'll admit, I don't know the Quran as well as I know the Bible, but the Quran does piggyback off of things in the Bible, like flooding the entire planet, men, women, and children, because they were being bad. Or Sodom and Gomorrah, men, women, and children because they were bad. Just wiping them out. That's pretty awful. It's the same with Judaism. It's the same God that did the same things. The first 5 books of the Bible are canon throughout the 3 religions. So, yeah, you get some pretty fucked up stuff in there. Faith in twinks, as you should. Some sort of evidence is generally what we're looking for in order to believe in the existence of God. There is evidence for twinks.
Take a guess. I'm at battery percentage right now.
2.
So close.
3.
plugged in.
Hello.
You know what it was at before I left work and plugged it in?
What?
10. It's just going down.
I mean, do you need another charger?
The other one will not.
Actually, I'm probably going to be off in like 10-15 minutes anyway. You can just use this one. Tell Tay to pull up a chair. Tay? Taylor. I don't know why I said Tay. Taylor. Taylor. Taylor.
What?
Taylor.
What?
See, it's the fun thing. I don't know if you've seen with it in couples where you call your partner by their actual name instead of like a nickname or a pet name, and they don't know what to do. I very rarely will ever use my wife's actual name.
Yeah, you don't call me Taylor.
This is emotional evidence. It doesn't mean God doesn't exist. When I was talking about the flood and stuff, you were asking about how is the God evil? And that is how I believe he is evil. You weren't asking me about reason to believe or anything like that. Its existence. Those are two separate things. I don't have reason to believe he exists because I don't have evidence. I have a book of claims. I have multiple books filled with claims with no actual substantial evidence. That's the issue of why I don't believe. I think he's evil because of the things depicted in the books. At least the being depicted in the books, I say is evil, whether he exists or not. Calling your partner by their full legal name is devious, not gonna lie. Yeah. Like your vids, did you follow a religion before you were an atheist? I was a Christian. Specifically, was raised Catholic. Was that the first, like, probably 20-ish years of my life. Then went non-denominational Christian, then theist, with kind of my own ideas.
You've been anointed.
Fucking fuck this country. I was just a theist, and then I was an atheist. Thanks for telling me your reasoning. I like learning about how other people think. Have an amazing rest of your day or night. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it.
You didn't like my
Do you have anything
gift?
to add?
You didn't like my gift? I anointed you.
Yeah, it's... Wow, I turned that too far. It's America.
I anointed you. This is what I wore all day.
And you know, you like being festive? That's fine. You know,
I was festive all day. Red, white, and blue.
I support.
I even have blue shirt and a white skirt.
I support, you know, your festiveness. You know, you want to be festive for the holidays. I support that.
Anoint you.
I'm not going to do it.
Here you go, Nick. Or Rick.
Let's put it on. You can't see it, but it's now on my phone stand. So like the phone has like the necklace on. Yeah, that's just gonna fall. Especially I keep having to touch my phone. But it's on my phone stand. So you have been.
You've been anointed.
Anointed. Taken back about my dearest America? I will not. Can a chair create itself? No. And it's just an inanimate object. Has to have a creator, so how can the universe, humans 1,000 times more complex, have no creator? It's ridiculous. That's not how that works. It's not. Each different thing needs evidence. Each different claim needs evidence. It's not a chair had a creator, therefore everything else had a creator. That's not how it works, especially because we know that chairs have creators. We know that somebody came up with the concept of a chair. We know that somebody makes and builds chairs. We know that people come up with different designs for chairs, and we make them. We can see the assembly lines where chairs are being made, and we see chairs physically existing. We sit on them and use them on a regular basis. The whole process, start to finish, chairs exist. And this is how they come into being. With the universe, it exists. And we have some things like the Great Expansion. We have things like the leftover bits from the sun forming, making the planets, stuff like that we have good evidence to believe. But as far as like where it all came from, especially anything supernatural, we don't know. We don't have that. We don't have the evidence for that. And just saying, I don't know, therefore it has to have been something divine, is a God of the gaps fallacy. And it just doesn't work, especially when that line of thinking has failed us many times in the past. We used to think that things like natural disasters, insect swarms, diseases, eclipses had some kind of supernatural, divine cause. Now we know that they're just natural. So we can't keep plugging in the supernatural to things that we don't understand just because we don't understand them. If we don't understand how something works, we just say we don't understand how it works, and we keep looking for evidence to explain how it works. That's just how it works. Live your life to the fullest. No one can change what you believe. It is done. People can change my beliefs. I'll change my beliefs based on evidence. Neat, thank you for sharing. Hearing all perspectives is super interesting. I feel like I never believed in God, even though my parents both believe. Yeah, and some people are like that. I have an older sibling who, she still kind of believes in like the universe or like there's something else out there. But as far as Christianity goes, we grew up being taught like the biblical stories and whatnot, and she just always kind of like, we don't actually believe this, do we? Like she didn't really like, she wasn't sure people actually like believed this stuff, and she never really bought it. So you know, some people are like that, where they just kind of like, I don't know. Yeah, we know how chairs come into existence. We don't know how the universe came into existence. Issue: Jews, Christian, Muslims, their finite minds can't describe attributes of God, infinite nature. Attempts to reconcile God's infinite attributes without knowledge leads to paradoxes. Problem of evil. Sure. Yeah. And I blame God for that 100%. If he wants to be known and loved and followed, but he's also made himself to where we can't possibly understand his nature, to where we have thousands of different religions, and even instances like Christianity, where we have thousands of different denominations of Christianity. Nobody really knows what they're talking about. We're all just kind of all over the place, sometimes killing each other over which version of the God is right, where God could come down and clear it up. I understand he's an infinite being and we have finite minds and we can't quite understand it, but that's his fault. Everything ultimately is his fault. That's, I mean, we can go back to A Bug's Life, Hopper. First rule of leadership: everything is your fault. I think that's true. You're in charge. You made everything. You designed everything. Nothing happens that goes against your will. It's your fault. And you can say it's for the good or the bad or whatever. That's fine. But everything, good and bad, would be blamed on this God if he exists. That's just the fact of the case. Including our inability to fully understand him. If God is unknowable due to transcending, how can anything be known about God's infinite nature and attributes as conveyed in Scripture and Revelations? Faith, belief in God without knowledge of God is paradox. Yeah, it becomes a mess when he caps our brains to not be able to understand him and then tries to get us to understand him. God, the potentially one being in all existence that actually has free will. Yeah. Moral accountability applies to him for all his actions. Yeah, I do agree. Because even if there's a God and we have souls and we have free will, he demonstrates in the Bible that he doesn't really care, and he will mess with our free will and take our free will away from us and manipulate our free will if he so chooses, if it serves his greater purpose. So even if God is real, and even if we do have free will, he still can and has in the past fucked with free will. So it's not really free. It's not. I'm not really. I don't know. If I'm taking the driver's test and I'm in the car with the driving instructor where he's got that brake pedal, I don't really have freedom over this vehicle, because if I start trying to do something, he's going to hit the brakes. Something I'm not supposed to do, he's going to hit the brakes, or he has the power to reach over and grab the steering wheel and help me turn and stuff. I'm not fully in control. I'm in control until he decides I'm not, which does not give me full control of the vehicle, full independent control of the vehicle. Now, in fairness, in this analogy, it's a student driver learning how to drive who probably shouldn't have full control, but still, regardless of reasons, does not have full control, does not have full uninhibited free will. A class in high school that you don't have to take, the extra classes.
Extracurriculars?
It's not extracurriculars, is it? It had a different word. It had a different word. Because
Um,
extracurriculars, I think, it was like after school stuff.
yeah.
It had a different word.
It had a different
This
word.
was me,
It had a
like
different
20
word.
minutes into the live stream, because I was talking about the Ten Commandments in schools and how I think it'd be fine if we had an extra class where it's not required.
It's not like special or anything.
No.
But,
An extra class. It'd be fine if we had an extra class in public schools that isn't required, that it's just a religion class that just generally teaches about religion. I'd be fine with that. Electives.
Electives.
Rick
Yes,
with the
hey!
Rick with the save. Thank you so much, Rick. Electives. Yes, I'd be fine with a
Thank
religion
you.
class elective
I was gonna lose my mind.
in public schools because it's free will. Jesus make them people do them bad things. No, he didn't. It's man who always does the bad things, and there are consequences. So how is there no free will? There's free will, but it's not uninhibited. In the Exodus story, in the Prince of Egypt story arc, essentially, it repeatedly states that God is hardening Pharaoh's heart so that he will not let the Israelites go, so that he can continue to flex and show the world his power, or at least the localized area that everyone thought was the world at the time. There's also another one, I don't have the Bible passage, so you can scream at me for this, where he hardens the heart of a neighboring king to make that king invade the Israelites. He does violate free will. So we have free will, but we do not have uninhibited free will under the assumption that there is this God. If there isn't a God and we're all just chemical reactions, then I don't really think we have free will either, even though I don't like that. If God does not allow me to fly and teleport and blow up planes with my mind, I have no true freedom. Unironically, you know what? Maybe. Where's my morality comes from? My specific morality comes from being treated not great as a kid, all growing up. And, just I skimmed the surface when talking about my childhood. But I left my childhood with a lot of depression and anxiety and trauma and wanting to take my own life. Many times throughout my childhood, I contemplated taking my own life. I often say I spent so much time on the edge of that cliff that it started to feel like home. And just in that deep darkness, I thought to myself, I don't want anyone else to feel like this. And I definitely don't want to be the reason anyone feels like this. So I adjusted my shit accordingly. Not only did I try not to be the type of person who made someone feel like this, but I tried to be the type of person that I needed all my life growing up, but didn't always have. Someone loving, caring, understanding, who's actually there for you and won't put you in a dark place and make you want to kill yourself.
Let me know.
I do. That's where I get my morals. Overall, morals and ethics have evolved with humanity, at least it seems, as we learn how to deal with one another, working together for the betterment of a society and the individuals in a society, including ourselves. And we worked out a system that generally revolves around overall human well-being. Now, it is still a subjective moral system. We've just, for the most part, agreed on an objective foundation, or at least a foundation that we can objectively build on. Because if you can subjectively choose overall human well-being as your base, but then as that base, there are objective morals that can branch off of that. Like taking someone's life would be objectively against the goal of human well-being. So that's where I got my morality and where everyone else seems to have gotten their morality, including where religions seem to have gotten their morality, because it seems much more probable to me, just given evidence and the lack thereof of God, it seems much more credible, I should say, that humans evolved morals and then used those morals in their religions, and then now religions hijack those morals and try to make the world believe that you can't have morals without the religion, even though the religion didn't seem to get its morals from any kind of divine anything. It seemed to have just gotten its morals the same place everybody else did. God caused man to do bad things. He is the progenitor and creator of evil. That's a big word. He knew what would happen and chose a path of destruction. That's true malice, yeah. He does do that. Everything's his fault, no matter what. Jews, Christians, and Muslims present a finite view of God's interactions with violence, and it has led to various interpretations and reinterpretations of God and infinite nature throughout their history. He should make us to be able to understand him better. But I think that is all the time I have for this live stream. We've gone a little bit over an hour, and I do have to get up before the sun does tomorrow. So it is time for me to go to bed. I don't know what's. Oh, it's one of the cats. So thank you so much. Progenitor, a person or thing from which a person, animal, or plant is descended or originates, an ancestor or parent. Okay, noted. But thank you all so much for being here. It was actually a pretty good live stream. I was a little surprised because I came in here like, God, I don't have like anything. I don't have any of my usual setup that I have for my live streams. And I'm just gonna be winging it, and it's gonna be great. And we weren't even that, chat wasn't even that full, but we still had some good conversations. We still got some good things talked about. Still ended with 8 likes. That's crazy. That's how some of my other likes have. 9 likes, still crazy. So thank you so much for being here. I'm always appreciative to anyone who even stops by, even for a second. I'm just a random nobody on YouTube. I don't really think I deserve anyone's time of day. So the fact that some people give me their time of day is pretty cool. The fact that some people stick around and chat and like and subscribe is absolutely amazing to me. So thank you so much for being here and being a part of that. I usually do live streams every Tuesday night at about 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I did an extra one this week because I can and I wanted to. But yeah, I think that's about all I have. Enjoy the 4th of July in this broken, awful, terrible country. Enjoy the fireworks. Have fun. Enjoy the fireworks. Fireworks are fun. It doesn't necessarily have to be supporting the country, but fireworks are fun. Enjoy the fireworks. It's fucking hate this country. It's just awful. I would move if I had the means. But anyway, have a good rest of your day, night, whatever it is when you're watching this, and thank you so much for being here. And I'll maybe see you around.